استمعتم وشاهدتم جلسات حوارية مع اثنين نخبويين من الفائزين بجائزة نوبل للآداب، الأستاذ عبدالرزاق قرنح حائز جائزة نوبل للآداب عام 2021، والأديبة البولندية أولغا توكارتشوك الحائزة جائزة نوبل للآداب 2018. مرة أخرى سيكونان معنا في هذه الجلسة. أما من سيحاورهما الأستاذ عبد الله الراشد مدير مركز الملك عبدالعزيز الثقافي العالمي، فليتفضلوا.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته جميعا. اسمحوا لي سنقيم الجلسة باللغة الإنجليزية كونها اللغة المشتركة بين ثلاثتنا، فمن يحتاج أجهزة الترجمة هناك أجهزة ترجمة على المقاعد، وإذا كنتم تحتاجون أجهزة إضافية فالزملاء إن شاء الله متوفرون. Abdulrazaq and Olga, it's a pleasure having you here.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, let's test the mics first.
All right.
You're good? Olga, how are you?
Right?
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have spent 2 days here so far. How's it been? Maybe I'll start with you, Olga.
It's my third day here.
Yeah, third day.
Yeah.
How has it been?
Very intensive. Many people, many new words, many names. Yeah, I still think that I'm a little bit overstimulated.
Yeah. Ithra has that effect sometimes.
Yeah.
Abdulrazaq, what about you? How's it been?
Yeah, no, I was very happy to be here. I've seen a lot. Of course, I thought quite a lot about Saudi Arabia, but you always get surprised when you get to places you think you know.
You had a very particular request the first day you came. You said, I want to go to a palm farm. And you went on Friday morning. Why did you want to go to a palm farm, and what was that like?
I think I was asking, really, I wanted to see an oasis.
Okay.
I wanted to see farming in a country that you don't imagine, in my ignorance, you don't imagine is a farming country. So it's out of curiosity, and also because people begin to talk about this beautiful place, or these beautiful trees, and I've never actually heard people being so passionate about palm trees till I came here. You love your palm trees, that's for sure.
Yes, we do. We love our palm trees. And good job on powering through the heat, because you went in the morning. I'll start off. I should start, of course, with an introduction, and I want to try and introduce my guests. But that's extremely difficult if I want to do it with, while avoiding mentioning the big thing, which is that they are both Nobel Prize winners. So instead of me introducing you, I want to ask you a question. How does it feel that every stranger you meet, everywhere you go, they will still define you by Nobel Prize winner? You're much more complicated than that. Olga, maybe you
but
can
not everywhere and not everybody. There are many places all over the world that people don't recognize me, and they don't care about prizes and awards and so on. And they are very healthy and good people.
Right.
So I like to go to such a places. Of course, it's a complicated question, because it's a question also from which point do you watching. I got many good things from this award. Interest of the readers who never heard about me before. Also traveling. Self-confidence, I think, which is also a very powerful thing. But also I think that sometimes I feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And my very secret dream is to change my look, you know?
So do you think it's been more blessing or curse for you?
For me, I think it's a kind of blessing, very difficult but blessing.
What about you, Abdulrazaq? How has it been for you?
Or do you mean the question about people recognizing me and saying,
I mean,
hey, you?
I mean, you have a family, you have academic pursuits, but in the end, you'll predominantly be defined, maybe, I don't know, maybe you can correct me, as the Nobel Prize winner.
Well, it's very nice. It's very good. For me, it's been a blessing. It doesn't mean that the blessings come, wholly, simply like that. There are always other matters attached. The busyness, traveling, which is also very good. It's one of the. Always have thought that one of the perks of writing and being published and gaining a little bit of a reputation, that one of the perks is people invite you to your readers or your publishers invite you, come to this place, come to that place, which is really rather beautiful when you do it once or twice a year. But with this kind of award, because of its global impact, I suppose, means that you have to do it 20 times a year to meet your readers, or at least for the first year, 20 times. Maybe it gets a little bit better as you get better at knowing how to judge things. But it is, I mean, there are different ways in which people, I suppose, recognize you or know you. It's their readers who perhaps have been reading your work for several years. They're not necessarily in their millions, but nonetheless, there they are. And for them, it's a joy to celebrate with you, to share your pleasure. And they do it in a variety of ways, which might be to send you a message or to greet you at a situation like this. And usually they come with a very old copy of your book to demonstrate their authenticity as your readers. They say, aha, here you are. That's lovely. That's great to meet readers like that. Great to find new readers and to meet them. But there are also people who simply want to say, to recognize the, as I said earlier, the impact of the prize.
Yeah.
They may not be readers, but they say, oh, this guy has a Nobel Prize in what? It doesn't matter. Well, I'll tell you what, though. There are people who know nothing about it as well. Our youngest granddaughter, when she was told by her mother, your grandfather Babu has been given this big prize. And she said, how big? Like, what? So there are people who don't care about it too much.
Well, we care, and it's a pleasure having you both here. I'm going to shift gear a little bit. We were talking about this topic, I think, over the last couple of days. I'll start with you, Olga. I'm going to read a quote from you. You said about the internet, you feel like spreading your arms and plunging into it. Turns out, nothing is more deceptive. The landscape is nothing more than wallpaper. You're clearly somebody who's in touch with nature. You're very social, you're approachable. The internet maybe disconnects us from this. And this is what I think you're trying to say here about the facade of the internet. We have research, however, that we've done here around the world in a program on digital well-being. And the new generation think reality is the internet. Their life is their phone, their connections are their phones and their internet. So how do you comment about that? Where do you stand on it?
I appreciate very much to be in the internet and what internet can give us and so on. I use GPT for writing, and I like to talk with GPT.
Not to
and
win the Nobel Prize.
I always say thank you, or it was pleasure to talk with you, and so on and so on, even if I don't know who is really this being. But I'm also very disappointed because people for 1,000 years dreamt about such a powerful thing like internet, huge access to the knowledge, to all knowledge of the entire humanity. And you can do it so easily today. You can just open the doors and just jump. But from the other side, internet became a tool of hatred, of hate, of aggression, of violence, and so on. So I think that sometimes that we are not enough adult people to use from such a powerful
So we're not mature enough, maybe
Yeah,
not ready.
not mature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe along those themes, Abdulrazak, me and you were speaking in the lounge and we spoke about pseudo-writers and ghost-writers and male writers who use female names in their books and the reader not knowing who's actually written the novel. Do you think a day will come when a Nobel Prize will be won by a book written by AI and we wouldn't know?
I don't know, and I don't really care. There is something, what makes writing interesting is the originality
Yeah.
of the writing. Now, it could be voice, it could be concerns, it could be whatever. I don't know, I'm not an expert, nor am I bothered too much, but I don't know if you can replace that by somehow stealing bits and pieces here and there and producing something.
No.
If you can, and it's interesting, yeah, okay. I'm not too bothered that it's always just an individual consciousness that's doing it.
Right.
But I do think it will be a very hard thing to do, to produce the product, as it were, of how should I put it, a deep original consciousness that we admire in writing that moves us. But if that can be done by a machine, fine.
It's an interesting position. I'm going to quote something from your book. You say, only literature is capable of letting us deep into the life of another being, understand their reasons, share their emotions, and experience their fate. Now, I like a quote by Robert Frost that I was taught. It says, no tears from the writer, no tears from the reader. Can a reader get an emotion from a piece of literature that the author did not intend? I think they can get pieces of information or connections, but can they get an emotion that the author did not write?
Yes, of course, I think so. I think that this is also the part of the game, you know, that sometimes the readers are bigger than the writer. They have their own contexts, their own spaces, and they took what is written into this her own
Right.
universe. And this is I remember such a situation then that I was talking with a French journalist, and she read my book, and we just went for the coffee and she taught me what she can see in my book. Her interpretation was completely, you know, shocking for me. I didn't see all those things she can read from my text, and it was such a crossing my boundaries, you know. So
Right.
it was a pretext for her universe, for her entire very special, very personal space. And I thought that this is the miracle of literature, you
Right.
know. I giving only the pretext to
And you don't know what the impact of it
yeah,
might be.
of course.
Moving to maybe another theme that was discussed yesterday during your talk here, but I want to push back on your answer. You were asked about a quote from one of your characters who asks, what is a home? And you said, well, maybe the answer is today we can have multiple homes. You cited your example that Tanzania could be a home and UK is a home. And then there was another question that you were asked when you were pushed by the moderator to try and, what would be the book that you would take with you? And your response was, I wouldn't take a book, I will take a passport.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, can you call a place like the UK for you, for example, as a home, when you still feel like a foreigner, that you're getting a passport? Is home a place or is it a concept?
So which question do you want me to answer?
Pick.
A passport question, first of all. One of the results for me, and I think for many people, but certainly for me, of the experience of displacement, particularly forced displacement, rather than voluntarily moving from one place to go to another place to work, say, is the anxiety of actually being secure wherever you are. When I say that, I mean, when you're a stranger or when you are in this uncertain state, The anxiety is that somebody is going to challenge you and say, what right do you have to be here? And so the need for the passport is the need to always to be able to answer that question. It's not a matter of how you see yourself. It's not a matter of, is this my home or is it not? It's not a matter of how I identify myself. It's a matter of security. I have a right to be here, so please leave me alone. If I happen to have a passport, if I happen to be, say, in Tanzania, and somebody challenged me, equally, I would want to make sure I have my passport with me. Because they might say, but you live in the UK, and you don't have any right to be here, vice versa. So it's a condition, I suppose, of being from one place and living in another place. It is not a condition of what's in your heart or in your mind or in the way you assess yourself.
Right.
So
it's
really,
not a
that's
definition
part
of
of
you.
the answer.
Right.
The second question is, what is home? Or does it feel this and that to be home? So I have another way of answering that also, which is, really my home is still Zanzibar. I say this, for example, that if you were to ask me out of the blue and we're sitting talking in the nice VIP room there, and you say, where's your home? And it wasn't like this, like a formal issue as well. I'd say Zanzibar without hesitation.
Okay.
But I haven't lived there permanently for 50 years. For 50 years, I've lived in the UK. So if you were to ask me that question in the UK, where's your home? I'd say Canterbury. So I live in both of those places. Both because, in a sense, I own something of both of those places.
Right.
They're both part of me. If you say to me, that isn't your home, you're denying me something that belongs to me. You're saying, I don't have a right to something which I do have a right to.
Right. Given that we have very limited time, I thought I would be smart and ask the smartest question of all, which is, Abdulrazak, what would you like to ask Olga?
I knew this was coming, you know. And he thinks it's going to be a difficult question, but it isn't at all a difficult question. Actually, I have two questions for you, Olga. The simple one is, what is your dog's name?
Timmy.
Tilly.
Timmy.
Okay. And the difficult question is I don't think it's difficult, but anyway, what do you think is the most difficult moment in a writing life?
You mean writing a book and
No, just generally for a writer. What do you think is the tough moment before the Nobel Prize?
I think in my case, because I can imagine that it works differently.
Yeah, sure. I meant like for you.
In my case, I think that I need time for myself. And when I was a young writer, I was a woman, a working woman, and I have a child and so on. So this endless fighting for the empty place when I could go and just devote myself to thinking, to imagining and so on. So that was the endless looking for the space for me.
So space is time, you mean?
Time and space and silence. Silence. So yeah, perhaps like this.
I don't think it would be fair unless I ask you to ask him a question. So
Yes, but I have this question for a long time. When I started to read your books, I thought to myself, is this guy a king of time? Because you are ruling the time in your books. Do you have a special attitude to time?
I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Can you say a bit more?
No, because I don't have this ability, I don't have this talent. But in your books, in your writing, the time is, you are ruling the time. You can make it faster and slower. You are completely, king of this, what's going on. And then you can spend a lot of time for building a beautiful small image with thousands of detail, which are, smelling and tasting and so on. And you are stopping the time. And then you are going farther and in a different direction. And then it's, for me, extremely difficult, and I always, lost somewhere, and I don't have time to build this scene, to take time for my one character, and you are genius in it. So what is your attitude? How do you do? How do you do
That's
in
very
this?
nice. That's very nice. Well, I suppose it's because I think I think the reader will come. Well, obviously, it's something I had to persuade myself I could take a risk. But the idea, in fact, in one story, in an early story, I do say, and you are coming to the reader. But that's the idea that I like to think that once I've established whatever with the reader, that the reader will come with me wherever I go. Wherever I take them, not wherever I go. And I hope that it will work. And okay, it sounds like in some cases it does work. But it's like that.
So it's a kind of trust. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a kind of saying that the reader will come with me. And off we go.
Wonderful. Thank you very much both for your time. This was an honor to have you on the stage. I'm just going to say final few words in Arabic. شكرا جزيلا للضيوف اللي حضروا معنا من أنحاء العالم. شكرا جزيلا لكم وأترككم مع بقية الحفل. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.